Patriots. It's time for the Signal 50 podcast, where we talk about the hard truth about today's current events.
Good evening and welcome to the Signal 50 podcast. It is Wednesday, March 31st, 2021. Tonight's episode, a house of cards collapses easily. Bravo, good evening. How are you? You braced for the snowstorm you're about to get?
I thought it was supposed to be spring. Darn woodchuck. Anyway.
Oh, we already went through fake spring. Now we're into second false spring and fake winter. So,
you know, if it wasn't for everyone moving goalposts back and doing it again, now I blame Mother Nature for moving goalposts. I'm just saying. Hi, everyone. Bravo here, ready to talk about today's current events.
Right. Well, anyhow, everybody, welcome. You might notice that we're not going to be live tonight. We've got some things that we had to take care of, so we've pre-recorded the program and we're bringing it to you this evening. As you know, there are some really neat technology items out there that will allow you to pre-record something and then pop it and populate it on the different platforms at a given time on schedule. So, everybody, thanks a lot for bearing with us. We know we have a lot of listeners that like to listen to us live on YouTube, and we do appreciate that, and we'll be back with you another time for a live stream. But for now, we've got a lot to bring you tonight. It's been kind of a busy week. It's only, as we're recording this, it might not be the 31st, but there's a lot that's happened already this week. Mainly madness in the world. What do you think? Madness?
Well, it's not controlled chaos, I can tell you that. And it's definitely it's not as far as mayhem. Mayhem is just craziness, and there's purposeful pandemonium, I think is the best word to put it. Purposeful pandemonium. I think that's
that's awfully generous of you. I think it's just I think everything that's going on is just insanity. Anyhow, everybody, listen, we talked about, cancel culture. We talk about that a lot. It's why we can't show our faces or reveal our identities, because it truly is, the weaponization of Alinsky's rules for radicals out there. It's just insanity. And we're just trying to exercise our First Amendment rights. We're not hurting anybody. But it's probably not seen that way, so we have to be a little bit careful. There's somebody out there in the world that we really appreciate, and the hits keep coming with Gina Carano. Gina Carano. It seems that Heidi Heitkamp, she was a U.S. Senator from North Dakota from 2013 to 2019. She's a one-hit wonder, okay?
Mm-hmm. Rightly so.
And rightly so. She
was terrible.
Well, she's a swamp creature of the highest order. Okay.
Yes, she was.
Terrible, terrible human being. She's not a Democrat. She's just wrong and nasty. And It seems she was on Bill Maher's program the other night, and she goes ahead and she just calls Gina Carano a Nazi. Okay. She was a Nazi. She hangs out with white supremacists. Well, first of all, if somebody said that about me, and it certainly wouldn't be true, I would react in a way, wouldn't you?
I would say, why am I a Nazi? I'd just ask them flat out. Say, tell me what I do that I'm a Nazi.
Why?
The problem is
why?
They're not there. They're not doing this in front of the person to have a conversation. They're doing this to throw gasoline on people's emotions, and then those people who are watching Bill Maher react, and they react. They just get angry. It's an echo chamber,
right? What did this former senator hope to gain from going after Gina Carano and calling another private citizen in a public forum such as Bill Maher's show, which whether we like it or not, the guy's got a pretty big audience, okay? He's got a pretty big platform. Mm-hmm. What did she have to gain by libeling Gina Carano like that?
It's a pile-on. It's a gang. It's a gang up on someone event. That's what that is. Everyone's ganging up on everyone else, and it feels good for the moment, but it doesn't do anything for the long term, and it definitely doesn't help. It doesn't help what's going on, to help bridge this division that we're seeing between the right and the left, in my humble opinion.
Well, and it's not a division that's being caused by Republicans, believe me.
No.
I wonder if the same people that are slapping her on the back today are going to be slapping Heidi Heitkamp on the back when Gina Carano gets an attorney like Lynn Wood and goes after her for libel. I wonder if those same people that think this is cool today are going to be there to support her tomorrow when this woman loses everything she's ever owned.
Hey, play stupid games, get stupid prizes.
Stupid prizes. That's right. That's right. I wonder if Gina Carano.
They just get them.
Well, I really hope that Gina Carano takes some kind of an action against Heidi Heitkamp. It would serve her right. And I think anybody that goes through this kind of thing should just absolutely go medieval on whoever does it.
Right. I calling someone a Nazi is ridiculous, and they're not even using the definition properly. If Heitkamp was even some semblance of smart, she would have known that the pictures and the things that were being shown were not anything to do with Nazis. It was about it was actually technically a simile. You're using an example to broadcast and show what's going on with a bigger example, right? And what is happening with this cancel culture. But I think it goes deeper than that. Just briefly, everyone knows I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Like The Mandalorian, it's a great show. But the person that's running the ship over at Disney, because Disney bought Star Wars from George Lucas, the creator from when I was a youngin', basically, Kathleen Kennedy is sailing the boat right into the middle of a big sandbar, just like that big ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal. Just for whatever reason, she's a social justice warrior, and she has her own agenda, and she doesn't like males, and the show and everything that she touches is toxic. The only thing that's been keeping Disney Plus alive was The Mandalorian. Huge numbers of people watched it because of the way the story went, and I won't give anyone any spoilers, But the platform Disney Plus, because of Gina Carano's firing, lost over half of their subscribers, and unfortunately, the stockholders don't seem to care, or they're too scared to make a stink about it because they're still seeing money come in their pocket right now. So I have no idea why they want to destroy. It just doesn't make any sense, except for the fact that someone that's running the corporation over at Lucasfilm doesn't have the right vision, or doesn't have the right mission to get there, and it's a mismatch.
Where do these people think this is all going to go? I mean, there will come a point in time when you can't even pass your own purity test, right?
That's correct. No, I agree.
And they're just going to eat themselves alive. And pardon me, it's allergy season here in the Mid-Atlantic, and I do apologize. Uncontrollable. It's the pollinating part 1. Everything's blooming. Anyhow, so I just don't understand where this is all headed. When you've got a woman who's a former U.S. senator, and she just gets on TV and she just spews this venom about Gina Carano. Why? What is it that these people have to gain? What is there to gain from this?
15 seconds of fame. But it doesn't last very long. Now, granted, Gina Carano
it's going to be expensive.
Yeah. And Gina Carano's going to be fine. Because Gina Carano is going to go, and she's going to make her movie with the Daily Wire. She's going to do just fine. and she's already working on her dream, and she's also showing all the dirty laundry that's going on at Lucasfilm. She didn't hold any bars back to talk about how Kathleen Kennedy is a vile woman, just a terrible human being, and vindictive and corrosive, just a nasty person. So, you know what? We're all taught to, live and let live, but
Right.
when you start coming after me, fine. There's no stopping.
Well,
I'm not going to back down. I'm just
no backing down. No, we're done. We're done backing down from people. And I really hope, I wish Gina Carano all the best. She's she's pretty cool gal. I went back and I watched all of her MMA fights. Yeah, she's a tough girl. She's a really tough girl. She was a fantastic fighter. We've sang her praises before, and she's got some courage. And you know what? She is going to be just fine. I'm not worried about her in that way. This is just a larger statement on where the culture is and where things are going, and it's really quite frightening.
Well, but
it is what it is. It is what it is. Look, we get a lot of this. The cancel culture business is one thing, all right? And cancel culture, real or perceived, is has become what I labeled the Alinsky's rules for radicals on steroids. Isolate, ridicule, target, isolate, divide, conquer kind of theory. And it's very effective, and it's incredibly hard to, defend against. But it's the radicals that have been elected to positions of power, rightfully or not, another subject for another time. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show. These are the same people that are all about, justice for this and vaccine justice and, climate justice and work justice and just justice, right? Okay.
Seems to get overused quite a bit, doesn't it?
It does. And they're using the term justice as nothing more than a lever, right? There's no truth to what they're saying about any kind of justice. What they're doing is basically injustice. It's segregation, it's divisive, and it's the opposite of justice, right? Okay, so what's going on for people who aren't paying attention? Because you've got people being canceled and other things that are nonsensical, that are real dog whistles for people's attention, like gun control and other things. Well, everybody's been asleep. The progressive wing of the Democratic Party is really pressuring Biden to pass a $10 trillion green infrastructure and climate justice bill. Okay. So you're going to get the new Green Deal, right?
I don't want the new Green Deal.
Well, you're going to get it. Okay.
But I don't want it.
Oh, no, nobody wants it. I mean, these people think that they had a mandate. This was if nothing else, this was a by the skin of your teeth election, whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent. And it's not a mandate. And they're treating it as a mandate to go ahead and sweep through everything. And quite frankly, they're moving at such a pace, we can't keep up.
It's a delusional. It's delusional. This is crazy. Oh my God.
Well, it is delusional and crazy. Why do you think that these people want to get rid of the filibuster?
Oh,
so they can jam this shit right up everybody's rear end.
That's correct. Right. It's crazy.
Okay. Well, they were against getting rid of the filibuster, when they weren't in power because blah blah blah. Now they're for getting rid of the filibuster. So along with this, you got to really look and read between the lines of what this is. Now, Joe Biden is planning a $4 trillion infrastructure spending spree to go along with this. Pre the $10 trillion. But along with that comes some penalties for the people of the United States that we're not really paying much attention to, right? Oh, they're not going to raise taxes on the middle class. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
$3 trillion in tax increases. The corporate tax rate will go from 20 to 28 from 21%.
Ugh.
The income tax rate on individuals earning more than $400,000 will go up. The estate tax will go up, and that affects everybody.
Mm.
Higher capital gains tax rates for individuals earning at least $1 million annually and paring back tax preferences for so-called pass-through businesses. Okay, so what does this mean? Simple economics. $3 trillion in tax increases. Where's that money coming from?
Thin air, almost.
No.
I don't even think by raising all those taxes, and the reason why I say that is because if you raise all those taxes, and you'll get to it in a second, I'm just trying to give an overview here. If you raise all those taxes, there's still not enough money to make $3 trillion. There's no way. You can take everyone's money make, and they still wouldn't make it.
Exactly. What would the personal income tax rate have to be to raise $3 trillion in taxes on the U.S. Populace?
Now, if 100% is every penny I make as what I do in my job, and then they need to take 200% money I haven't made yet to make up $3 trillion or $10 trillion, whatever ridiculous amount of money that is. Ugh.
Well, next Monday, along with this, the $4 trillion that Biden is planning on spending on an infrastructure bill, and they're going to use it for social justice and climate change and all sorts of other things. The progressive left that we were talking about before, they're planning on they're proposing a $10 trillion spending bill. $10 trillion, people.
Ugh.
$10 trillion on green energy.
Doesn't work.
Eliminating fossil fuels by 2035.
I like driving my car.
They don't like you driving their car. Your car.
My car. I know.
They don't think that you should drive a car. They'll drive. They don't. It doesn't affect them. They don't care.
I know.
So they're going to spend 40% of that for disadvantaged city and urban environments that have been disadvantaged by racism. It's about social justice. Okay, they're going to spend $4 trillion on cities and impoverished areas. Okay,
so I got to get this out there because I have to pay for New York City's mayor de Blasio and the moron mayor out in Chicago, and I forget her name on purpose because she has googly eyes and drives me crazy.
Beetlejuice.
What's that?
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Don't say it again.
Yeah, I know, right? All that spending, all that irresponsibility, everything, and I'm not even talking. And you mentioned the retirement funds that have to be covered because those are unfunded liabilities. I get it, but they're mismanagement, irresponsibility, spending money they don't have, and creating false goalposts that just don't make any sense, and that's why they want this money. They're just going to waste some more money. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. You take a city like Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
A perfect example, the governor of the state of Maryland, who's was elected as a Republican, but he's certainly not a Republican. He's a dipshit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of good things he did, all right, and a couple of bad things. And the good was he tried to hold the Baltimore City School District to account because there are a number of schools in Baltimore City that didn't have any air conditioning, or the air conditioning was broken and they never fixed it. All right. So the governor cut him a check for $29 million. Do you think that any of the air conditioning in any of those schools was repaired or replaced?
I don't think so. I think the money wound up in Union's pocket, I'm sure.
Correct. It wound up somewhere. But it didn't wind up with the schools. So you know what? You can take these cities that are disadvantaged and poor and major minority areas. The corruption is so thick. you could cut it with a knife.
It's a tax. It's a money laundering scheme.
It absolutely is a money laundering scheme.
Yep. Exactly.
And it just comes out of your pocket, my pocket, everybody's pocket that works for a living. Maybe we're the fools.
I wish there was a way not to pay your taxes. I really wish. I'm protesting. I'm not paying my taxes anymore. I wanted to do it with a schools. They're not educating my child the way that they say they're going to. The taxes went up, and the teachers aren't doing their job. They're all from home, or they're going on vacation and using the internet to teach their classes, and it's just ridiculous. It drives me crazy. This is crazy, and I didn't vote for this. But my vote
didn't. Your vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't count either.
Yeah,
it just doesn't.
I mean, it's
just a shame.
That's reality right now. This is bizarro world, I guess.
It's really terrible. It's really terrible what's going on. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable what's happening.
It's interesting. We started this podcast in September. We were two average Americans, patriots that really want to just get the word out and talk what's on our mind. And we watched the election happen, and it was the rug was ripped out from under the whole process.
The whole country got robbed.
We got robbed, and unfortunately, even if you want to address your grievances, then the cancel culture kicks in. If you want to have any form, if you want true justice, Alpha, if you really want true justice, then what has to happen is you really need to. It almost happened, like everyone has to wake up out of this daze and this fog that we're all in, and we have to start demonstrating peacefully and not comply with this, because this is not what I want. And
well, this is not the country that you and I grew up in. This isn't the country it was 2 years ago. We are sliding down a hill so fast. You've got a Congress and a Senate right now that are poised to drop $14 trillion of money that will be completely unaccounted for, that we do not have in the bank. We're going to come up with this money from where I have no idea. And the generational damage that all of this reckless, unaccounted for, unfettered spending is going to do will never be fixed.
No.
Does anybody remember Solyndra?
Oh, I do.
You do?
Yep.
Okay, that was the big green energy solar panel thing that the government invested heavily in, billions of dollars. What happened to all that money?
Poof. Into the ground.
Gone. Everybody got rich. Nobody went to jail. Everybody disappeared.
Yep.
Yep.
A lot of people
were all friends. They were all friends of very well placed politicians.
There's actually a laundering scheme. Another money laundering. Yeah.
Of course it was. This is just ridiculous. But hey, what do we know?
Hey,
we're just two average American dummies.
No, patriots.
Here, we go to work.
But we go to work and we pay our taxes, and we don't have any say. So, but we do have a say through this program, and we will continue to call this out. And we're not looking to get rich off this. We're looking to get the word out.
Right. And we've got a special announcement towards the end of the show that I'm going to make, and I even hid it from you a little bit, Bravo. We're going to do something special here.
I just hate surprises.
I know. All right, so let's on to the next topic. Everybody, we're covering ground here pretty quick tonight, and we want to get everything out there really quick. And the purpose for doing this program is to be thought-provoking, give our opinion on the news and what's going on out there, to really look at some of the stories that nobody's really paying attention to. But I'm pretty sure that everybody's been paying attention over the last year that children haven't been going to school. The crime rate's up. People are depressed. Drug and alcohol use are up. And the teachers' unions absolutely refuse to go back to work, even though there's really no reason for it. And things are on the decline. We have a vaccine now, and now we're wearing 2 masks. And everybody's friend Fauci is just out there. We'll get to him in a minute. But let's talk a little bit about what's going on down on the southern border, just for a quick second. Yeah. It's a crisis of epic proportions. Ginormous proportions that we cannot deal with. And it brings me no joy to even talk about it, because these are human beings. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They came here looking for a new life for whatever reason, and they didn't do it the right way. But when Biden rang the dinner bell before he got elected, it just encouraged people to show up to hit a dead end. However, that dead end is not really so dead. They're going to have to answer. This administration is going to have to answer for what they're doing. The spending that's going on the border is absolutely outrageous. They're spending $180,000 to house people, single families, in hotels until they can pass through the process. $180,000.
If you want to call it a process, they're going to pass through, and they're not going to go through the process. And just as you mentioned, just because I think it's important to emphasize this, you mentioned how these people came here with a wanting to a better life and everything else, but they didn't follow the process. Everything has to do with due process. And for them to budge in front of the line, they should be kicked out of this country, sent back to where they came from, and get in line and come here the right way.
Well, absolutely. Well, so far, they've released 30,000 people into this country without any kind of control or understanding who they are, where they are, or what comes next for these people. So
with COVID, COVID's a threat, of course, but
of course. But we can let these people go, and COVID doesn't seem to affect them, and it certainly doesn't affect the San Diego teachers. The kids in the city of San Diego, in the San Diego County, and the counties down in California, they can't go to school. There's no school for the tax-paying American citizens, right? You can't get in-person instruction for your children, right? But and these teachers' unions won't let the teachers teach in the schools. However, they're encouraging teachers to go for face-to-face learning experiences for the immigrants that are flooding the border on a voluntary basis, right?
What? What is this? What?
Yep. Now, not only are they taking volunteers through the teachers union to go teach these immigrant children, they're also paying them to do it. So they're being paid to teach people that don't really rightfully belong here face to face, but the students of American citizens that are taxpayers in this country aren't being instructed face to face.
Does anyone have a problem with this besides me and you, Alpha?
No, everything is fine. It's fine. Whatever. Nobody cares. I
have to disagree with you on that one. I think people are starting to wake up to this. I think people are not happy about this. There's a lot of parents I know that are fit to be tied about this. And it's got to stop. It really does.
Oh, absolutely. It has to stop. But when? When's it going to stop?
Well, again, when we peaceably rise up. Peaceably. I keep saying this out loud. That's for you, YouTube patrol minders. You think you know everything. Anyway, peaceably protest. And not stand for this anymore. And as Martin Luther King did in the past, there has to be a little bit of peaceful resistance. We're not going to do this. We're not going to comply. We need to start. It's got to be peaceful, but it's got to be done. Whether I can stop paying my taxes and then fight it, and then you're going to pay an arm and a leg. That
no, you're not. You're not going to stop paying your taxes. Trust me. Ask me how I know.
I know.
Yeah, the IRS doesn't. They don't care about your politics
I know. That's why you
necessarily.
pay taxes. You don't want the aggravation. But
That's correct.
it's intimidation, it's
That's right.
manipulation, and it's total disregard for what's right or what I'm asking to be represented for. It's someone
All
else's
right.
agenda.
Well, just remember that the federal government has the monopoly on the use of force.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't fight somebody who buys ink by the barrel. You will never win.
Mm.
Except for somebody that I'm going to introduce everybody to at the end of the show.
Mm.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
Mm.
So, you've got teachers that won't teach in the schools here because it's so dangerous. They're out on spring break doing their thing everywhere. Teaching remotely from hotel rooms, whatever, a few hours a day. They've been on a permanent vacation since last March, right? It's ridiculous, and these students are really starting to suffer. They're really suffering. I don't understand what we're going to do. I don't know. I don't know that we can fix this damage.
I don't know. It's not a matter of fix. I think it's a matter of continuing to talk about it and just trying to hang in there until the elections, there is some silver linings here. There's a lot of states that are fixing their election laws, and HR1 is going to sputter, and they're going to try to drag it across the finish line. But with the states passing their own laws, along with attorney generals throughout the states, who are going to sue, who are already suing Biden's administration for what they're doing. He's going to have he's going to have his hands full. Or not him. He's clueless. Biden has no idea what's going on around him. But the administration, whoever the puppet strings holder is, they're going to have their hands full. It is happening. It's just not as fast as I like to see it, unfortunately.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how this all turns out. I'm not too hopeful that it'll come out in a positive way, but these kids need to get back to school.
Mm-hmm. Well,
enough of the nonsense.
Enough of the nonsense. But the problem, again, you mentioned COVID. So we had the DHS secretary a couple days ago. Oh, we have a vaccine. Everything's fine. All of a sudden, her story just changed. She ripped out the goalposts on her own, started moving them back, not 10 yards, but 20 yards, and started saying how there's another strain and there's another this, and we don't know, and we got a mask again. And Biden's threatening to put everyone back under lockdown. And it dawned on me, Alpha. It said to me loud and clear that everyone is starting to come out and wanting to get back to normal. And it is clear that Biden is not going to allow that to happen. He's going to do everything he can to put his back under his thumb. And all he's going to find is everyone's going to be sneaking out around the edges of his thumb because it ain't big enough to hold us all back.
What I'm really afraid of, is like everyone's going to sneak out around his thumb. Okay, great. Yeah, great. What happens when people are just done sneaking?
Well, that's
what happens. What happens when this just becomes, and I think we're at some kind of a weird tipping point, right?
Mm.
What happens when this just turns from misery, which is really what this is,
mm-hmm.
to a real Greek tragedy where people get really good and pissed off? Think about it for a minute.
Well, you're talking about a civil war, sounds like.
No, you're talking about a revolution. It's a different thing.
Mm.
Civil war is people on people. Revolution is people on government.
Yeah, that's a thought. I'm not sure I'm going to go that far right now, because there's something that happened before you hit that revolution, and that's called the precipice of destruction. And I do believe that if you look through a lot of the signals and a lot of the what I call things that are just out in the open that you just are obvious in front of people, you'll find that the precipice of destruction, and some people talk about this, and it comes, different sources. I don't know what to believe of it or not, but people are going to get good enough sick and tired of it, and they're going to start opening up and doing their thing. Here's an example. Let me show you. So over in England, there's, they're even worse than we have. They have a government that can shut things down. They can kind of make edicts and dictates. But this video was taken from Chelmsford, England. It was a shopping center. And let me show you this video. So what you may have heard in the background is people are talking and sounding very up, and they're all having what seems to be a good time. And you'll see that none of them are wearing masks. None of them. They all went into a store.
It looks like Florida.
Oh yeah, this is England though. They all went into a
Florida.
Store. Yeah, they all went into a store. They took their masks off and they said, "We're going shopping." And I think you're going to see more and more of that in the states that are locking down. And only states, only the red states are the ones that are open without masks. They all repealed their mask laws, and all the blue states are still under mask laws. They all have to wear masks, and they're all worried about this and that and nonsense. Hey, you're immunized. The mask should come off. And I think what needs to happen is, again, you have stores that say you can't come in here without a mask on. Health department dictate says so. I'm going to take my mask off, walk in the door, and until they say something, and say, "Could you put a mask on?" "Oh, I was vaccinated. I thought I could have the mask off. I'm sorry."
Yeah,
I
got yelled at. I got yelled at the other day.
Yeah,
in an outdoor business. Okay,
mm-hmm.
People are mentally ill.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's going to definitely cause damage, but the problem is, but you see, that's what it takes. It takes people to start dancing. Damn bunch talks about this. People just need to.
You got to stand up. Everyone's got to stand up and just say that's enough.
It's enough. And I think the other thing is, and just this, I think this story kind of relates very closely to what I just showed. When you have what I call the Birx and Fauci report card or job review. It's not a report card. It's not school, but it's a job review. Okay. So President Trump comes out, and if it's all out there, you can read it. He goes through the letter and he talks about in detail how Fauci was the king of the flip-floppers and Birx was a flat out liar. She was not anything she recommended. President Trump did the opposite, and the same thing with Fauci. If it was up to them, President Trump says that we would have not seen vaccines for 5 to 10 years, and everyone would be locked up in their basements, and we'd all be going through not only economic depression, but also personal depression and destruction. So I think what you're seeing now is President Trump is really starting to highlight things. Like he went to a wedding, he gets up and talks about what he's done, what he did. Is that someone's wedding? He crashed someone's wedding and starts talking, but he ends up says, "Do you miss me yet?" I missed him the day that, he wasn't being sworn in for a second term. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of other people that are coming to find out that they really miss him, and they have buyer's remorse with Biden because he is a terrible, terrible human being. He's an ass.
He is an ass, and he's a corrupted ass, and the people that he has surrounding him are really just as bad, if not worse. It's terrible. What's going on in this country right now is just horrible, and we're not going to be able to fix it for another at least year and a half, at least to some degree. And that's going to be another thing to talk about. So, listen.
One more thing before you get into the other story that you have there. Let's listen to President Trump when he was on with Judge Jeanine last Saturday.
Oh, sure.
The rumor is that you're going to go to the border yourself. When do you plan to do that?
Well, a lot of people want me to. The Border Patrols and all of the people of ICE, if they want me there, they've asked me to go. And I really sort of feel I owe it to them. They're great people.
When do you think you would go to the border?
Over the next couple of weeks. The Border Patrol wants me to go, probably over the next couple of weeks. I don't think there's a rush for me to go. He's supposed to go and make the decision. A very, very bad decision was stay in Mexico, where he ended that, and it's incredible.
I love Judge Pirro. Can I just be the one to say, she's awesome.
She's quite a firecracker, that one.
And Judge Janine basically said he's going to, and you know as well as I do, Alpha, President Trump will be down there on the border, and it's going to make Biden look like an even more inept fool. I can't wait. I'm sure he's going to go this week, if anything.
My dog makes Biden look like an inept fool. And he's a dog.
Yeah. Your dog's
of no consequence. Fair enough. All right. So, hey, listen, Biden, great. Gets elected. Mm-hmm. The Justice Department, the FBI, the intelligence community, they tortured Donald Trump for, 5 years with this Russiagate crap, the PP dossier, Christopher Steele, all the stuff, otherwise known as Spygate. We've talked about this before on the program. A lot of people have written books on the subject. Greg Jarrett, Dan Bongino's written 2 books on it, maybe 3, I think.
3.
The list goes on and on and on about people who've written books about it. Carter Page, John Solomon's written extensively about it, and he's done extensive reporting on Spygate. There's something going on in the background, right? There's still something going on in the background, and I'll share a little story from the Epoch Times from Paul Sperry. G-Man taught a golden rule he failed to follow. Okay, the golden rule that this G-Man was teaching, his name is Brian Auten. He's a senior intelligence analyst for the FBI. He was the one in charge of vetting the Steele dossier. His golden rule was vet everything as hard as you can and exhaust every option and make sure you're telling the truth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He was a teacher, a professor at a university on staff there, and he was teaching all these things. Still an FBI employee. Small problem. They found that he had some mistruths in some of the things that he's told the Inspector General Horowitz not long ago. You might remember the Inspector General. Yeah, you might remember him. They found out that he wasn't exactly telling the truth, and he didn't vet the Steele dossier very well. And this guy caused a lot of damage. A lot of damage. These people may never see justice, and unfortunately, this country, I'm afraid we have short attention span theater. And how can we let these people off the hook? You don't.
Me and you, we like them. We'd call the FBI and say, "Could you arrest them, please?" And they're not going to listen to us.
No, of course not. Just fail to file your taxes one time and watch what happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind lying and causing an entire presidency to be, just absolutely a shambles for 4 years. Untold millions of dollars and the lies that were told by all of the people that were involved in this whole Russiagate crap was all precipitated by this guy, or in large part by Brian Auten. He'll walk. They're investigating him. I am not optimistic that anything is going to happen to any of these people. Not optimistic.
No. Where's Durham?
But you call somebody with the wrong pronouns, and you're going to get arrested. Okay,
it's ridiculous. Where's Durham?
I don't know.
Where's the beef?
Good question. Where's that chick? Oh, she's gone. But the thing about it is use a wrong pronoun or fail to address somebody correctly, you can be arrested. You know, say something harmful, hurtful to somebody, hurt somebody's feelings, and you can be arrested. Lie to the FISA court, no problem. It's all good. It's all good. The highest court in the land that can really violate your constitutional rights in a heartbeat, your Fourth Amendment right and your Fifth Amendment rights. Go ahead and lie to them to have a cause for an investigation or whatever. It's no problem. You can get away with that. That's no big deal. I guess justice doesn't mean anything in this country. Very scary.
Well, it's
Very
again,
scary.
There's rules for those and rules for us. And those rules for those people are whatever they want. And the rules that we have to follow are oppressive, and they are unfair, and they don't apply to them. And that's the problem. I mean, if I can wave my magic wand and have the rules apply to everyone fairly, we wouldn't have this problem. Frustrating.
Sigh.
Yep.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Just exhausting. Anyhow, on a brighter note, let's step it along here a little bit. We have something we want to talk about. There's a gentleman out there. His name is Mike Lindell. Everybody's heard of the MyPillow guy, right?
I have a couple of them. They're great. Sleep for great with them.
Yeah. I enjoy MyPillow. I enjoy it very much. I own several of them. I like it a lot. I think it's a neat thing. Works really well. Great product. You got the world's greatest pitchman who gets invited to the White House for an event, and he's carrying a pillow. He's got chutzpah. You got to give him that. And he's a devout Christian. The man turned his life around after a really bad spell with drugs and alcohol. Really turned his life around, found the Lord, and was saved.
And he does it for others. I mean, this guy is
right.
He says what he means. He means what he says, and the do matters with him definitely. And he gets out there and he has networks and he says what's on his mind. And he basically is now canceled because
he doesn't care.
Stores don't carry his clothes. But his website's doing awesome. And I bought some stuff the other day from it. He's got savings codes for everyone. You can find him somewhere, but he's not paying us to advertise for him. But we love to talk about him because he's a great guy, and I want to support him.
He's a good dude. Well, the thing about it is he's a former drug addict, and he's had some problems in his life, and he pretty much hires exclusively ex-cons and drug addicts, recovering addicts, and gets them counseling and pays them a fair salary and takes care of them and really lives the word. Okay.
True patriot.
So this is a genuinely good dude.
Yep.
He's on a mission, and he's a conservative dude, and he really liked President Trump an awful, awful lot. And President Trump really liked Mike Lindell an awful, awful lot. So
still does.
With everything that's that?
Still does. It's not like you
sure.
stop. Still
no. So, everybody's talking about, Parler getting just basically destroyed and Twitter canceling people and YouTube censoring people. And we get censored on a regular basis. The algorithm picks on us. So we have to go ahead and prove we don't have a sister, which is a long story. It's a euphemism that's used in another country.
Yeah, we talked about this the last show. How many times did you send the verification that we bought the rights to our intro and outro music, that the music that we use is not royalty at all? There's no royalties to the music. Again, I had to do all this research on my own when we did the show. We paid it. So here's the fee, here's the license. There you go.
Right. I've sent it 3 times already. I'm going to have to send it 5 more because 5 more videos were flagged. Okay.
Oh, screw that.
So that's time consuming and a big pain in the ass. So what's Mike Lindell doing about it?
Coming soon to a computer near you.
That's right.
Frank, the voice of free speech. He has for the last, especially when he was deplatformed by Twitter and everyone else. And again, we'll talk about his videos here in a second about what he's coming out with soon. But he's got his own website right now, MikeLindell.com, or Lindell TV, one of those things. You can look it up on your favorite search engine. Hopefully it's not Google. Anyway, you look, and he's coming out with this. Now he's talking about, and he was on the War Room the other day talking about this and some other things, which we're going to share briefly. This platform does Twitter and YouTube better than Twitter and YouTube. And the line at the end where it talks about Frank will be, and I'm going to paraphrase this for a second. Frank will be for major influencers and the micro influencers. Now, Alpha, you and I are micro influencers. we have a great following. I appreciate it, but we are not. I mean, we're not a major influencer. We're micro influencers to engage Americans. Where they can talk about and become part of the exercise their constitutional rights for free speech and freedom of expression. And that's what we do on this. And I'm looking forward to this platform to come out. We will still be on Rumble, but I would love to find a way to tell YouTube to piss off personally.
Oh yeah. A lot of the very popular YouTube personalities that I follow, they're bailing. They're moving over to Rumble.
I like
they've
Rumble.
had enough.
It does. Rumble's been good.
Rumble's a great platform. Rumble's a great platform. It's just, unfortunately, like we've said before, Mike Lindell's got to be very clever about how he does this, because I have news for you. YouTube is a good product. It's just the people behind it are very bad.
Morons, more like it.
Well, they're totalitarian shitheads. But needless to say, it's a great product. It does incredible things. They've spent billions of dollars on this product. And countless hours perfecting it, and it's a perfect product. It really is. I can't say anything bad about the product. And Mike has got to come up with something very, very competitive to it to be successful, and we wish him all the luck. And we're definitely going to go over and give it a try. It's worth a try. Give the guy some time. So there you go, Frank, the voice of free speech, coming soon.
Now,
we'll have to see.
Yeah, and you have to look, and also be on the lookout, everyone, for the videos that Mike Lindell is coming out. And he started this out with Absolute Proof. Hope everyone had a chance to watch it, where he talks about what the overview of the election and what went wrong with the election and what he has. And if you get a chance, go to the War Room on Rumble or catch up on American One Voice, where the War Room is housed. Go watch the videos. They talk about Mike Lindell lays down some really, really bold statements about what he's got in his back pocket, and he puts his money where his mouth is. I think this has cost him a lot of money, especially without the income because of all the deplatforming and the canceling that he's gone through. But he talks about drilling down on that evidence. He's quadrupling down, he said. He is not backing off. He wants Dominion to sue him. He's going to counter sue him. This guy is nonstop. And he says that and this is what he said in the War Room, and I'm paraphrasing, but by the time May hits, they're going to take down the election because the results are phony and President Trump will be back in the office. That's him. That's him saying this. I would love to see it, but that's a very long stretch. But I would not put it past Mike Lindell. Let me just tell you this, Alpha, just from my own personal thought. I would not put it past Mike Lindell to have the chutzpah to go ahead and say that and mean it and do it, because the guy has
he's got balls that clank. That's for damn sure. And I appreciate I appreciate the guy. I really do. He's a good dude, and I really wish him all the best with his new platform. We're definitely going to sign up for an account over there and give that a try. It's been an interesting journey learning the ins and outs since September of the social media landscape, right?
Mm-hmm.
You and I, Bravo, we've spent a lot of time exploring how these things work.
Learning on the fly. Learning by stumbling. I mean, the editing and the intro and the outro and all that
This is
stuff.
not easy.
It's not. And you have to do a little bit of trial and error, and you get a lot of comments about what you can do better and how you can do it better. But we have a great following, and the audience that gives us a couple hours of your time every week. We deeply appreciate it, and we will continue to make this as long as people listen to us, which it means to be they are. So thank you.
I appreciate that. You know, what this really does is it gives you an appreciation for people that do a really, really good job with it. Like, there's a guy named Tim Pool, Timcast IRL.
Oh, yeah.
When you listen to his podcast, he just does such a great job. It's not easy, people. This is really, really hard stuff. When you do this and you try it and you try to get the word out, there are other people out there doing the same thing we're doing. They're doing it a lot better, because they've been at it a lot longer. They just do it a little bit differently. And you really gain an appreciation for who's out there and the messages that are being spread around. There's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of good information flying around and a lot of unlikely sources. So, and that leads me to my next topic here. I've got a special announcement. I've just secured a very high-profile guest that is very much a political insider within the Beltway. Very, very conservative person. Spent a lot of time working with the previous administration on separate initiatives, and she's doing some stuff right now to try to tip the scales back towards conservatism. They're targeting certain areas, and that's what she's doing, and she's working on. She's a very effective woman.
Wow.
I'm not going to mention her name on air. We haven't gotten that far in the discussion other than, I'd be glad to come on your show.
Wow.
So I think it's okay that I tease a little bit. She's a fantastic lady. She put on events for the president and worked with the political action committees, raised a lot of money and a lot of attention for the Trump campaign to get him elected back in 2016. She's just a force to be reckoned with. She got into a decisive battle with the federal government, the EPA to be precise, and a few other three-letter agencies that wanted to, do harm to her and claim her property was something that it wasn't, and you know how that can go, right? It's not a good fight. She won.
I'm very excited. Nice surprise. Won. Thank you. I know she won. No, I can't wait to talk to her about it. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. We'll ask her to share her story, and it's somebody she's been on Fox News a number of times, One American News Network a lot of times. She's pretty much the voice of conservatism, the Women for Trump movement, and a few other things. Really, 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 just a dynamic lady. She introduced me to Elveda King, Reverend Elveda King. We were at a function at the Museum of the Bible with her and Elveda King. It was just a wonderful opportunity to go see Dr. King, the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King. It was a fantastic opportunity. We sat next to her. We talked with her for quite a long time, and this young lady, she made that happen. Really, really cool lady. Looking forward. She'll be very, very interesting for everyone to listen to. So stay tuned. We'll make an announcement when we can get her on the program. And that's pretty much it. So everybody out there in podcast land, make it a great week. It's this show will air on Wednesday night. It's Thursday Eve, and Thursday is just Friday Eve. The weekend is coming. So you know what? If you live in the Northeast, lube up the shovel. You're probably going to need it.
No, not anymore. No.
Tough noogies. You'll be fine. and it won't last long. It'll drop. It'll get cold for a couple days. It'll warm up, and spring will be here. It'll be fine. And before you know it, you'll be bitching about the mosquitoes and the heat. So
Right.
you can't win. So all right, everybody, feel free to listen to previous podcasts. Check us out on all the podcast platforms. Go to our website, signal50.com. Check us out there. Be sure to give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button on YouTube. And if you do catch us on Rumble, give us a rumble. And if you do get a chance to rate us on one of the podcast platforms, please do. We really appreciate it. It helps us out with the algorithms, gets us up closer to the top of the pile. We're doing pretty well as far as listenership on the podcast, so we're very, very happy about that. So anyhow, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay warm. We'd like to thank our soldiers, sailors, and airmen for protecting us 24/7, 365. Our police, firefighters, and EMS workers that are out there working with us every single day on the streets. The closest contact you'll have to public service. When you see them, tip your hat to them, shake their hand, buy them a cup of coffee. It means a lot to them. They don't make a lot of money, but they're willing to risk their lives for yours, and you're a perfectly good stranger. Trust me. So anyhow, everybody, have a great week, and bravo, cue the music.
Take care, everyone. Again, thanks for listening. This is the end of our Signal 50 transmission.